physical, I think, is the part of the chemo that I wasn't prepared for. You know, like they'd said to me, you know, I could do this cold cap treatment just to try and stop your hair falling out, you know, and so I was like, yes, I want to definitely do that. Like, I don't want my hair to fall out. And it didn't work. I did it and it didn't work. And so then my hair was just falling out in clumps. And I remember thinking, I'm obviously, for whatever reason, meant to get the full experience. You know, there's no mini version of cancer. You're not getting some kind of special version. You're going to get the full-blown one. And it was hard. I think the part that I think is the hardest about losing, like, your hair and your in a funny way, your eyebrows and eyelashes are actually worse, because that's when you definitely look sick. You start to look like your skin goes grey. You start to get this kind of, I don't know, this kind of deathly tones about you. Is that when you forget that you're sick because you can't see yourself for a minute, it's the pity that you see reflected back, you know, and so then you're like, oh, that's right, I'm sick, you know. It's that never being able to escape, sort of, I guess, that feeling. It was a hard one, you know, and I think it's funny because you think chemo's the hardest until you then go and do, like, mastectomies and stuff, and then you're like, oh, now I look back, actually chemo wasn't actually, you know, it's funny, chemo's so hard physically, but not as tough, I think, emotionally, you know, like the surgeries are so tough emotionally, you know, so I don't know, I guess that's why it's a battle, you know, it's a long process, you know, you really go through it.
Did you have time, you know, what with you know, you sound like even during that going, you know, this is happening, I'm meant to get this full experience, and I know it was up and down for you. Was there ever a time where you're like, I'm not going to make it here?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think maybe around 3 months, I remember saying to Marcus this one day, like the chemo, I'd had this morning where I literally thought I was losing my mind. I could not get the taste of the chemo out of my mouth and off my skin, so I could smell it. And I was saying to Marcus, can you smell it? Can you smell it? And he's like, I can't smell anything. I can't smell anything. And I could smell it. And so I was like a wild dog. And so I was like putting things in my mouth. Like I couldn't stop eating. Like I was eating like an orange and a passion fruit. Then I was eating chips and I was eating popcorn. I was just trying to get rid of this flavour, you know, and I was putting ice cream. Then I rang Domino's at like 9 a.m. trying to get a pizza, and then they weren't delivering. And, you know, like I was so full. I couldn't eat anymore, but I just kept eating and eating and eating. And then I got in the shower, and the pain, I think this is the thing, the pain was excruciating. It's like you have pain medication, but it's just not strong enough, is the short answer, you know. So the kind of chemo, it feels awful going in, and then it feels like you have this sort of other injection thing that I would do, and it felt like your bones were being ripped apart. And so then for about a week you couldn't sleep, right? So then it's like you can't sleep because my bones feel like they're so sore. I felt like I was being beaten with a baseball bat, so I couldn't sleep. And then because you can't, like, everything's just your body's fucked. It's totally fucked. And I remember getting in the shower, and I just was on the floor in the shower howling. And I remember Marcus coming in, he was holding Annabelle, and I just was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can. Like, I just don't think I have this in me. And I remember just looking up, and his face, and Annabelle's little face, and then I was just like, oh, I have to, you know, I have to do this, you know. But yeah, I definitely remember, you know, you go through periods where you're like, I'm doing all I can, but I don't know if it's enough, you know. I remember saying once to Fran, when she said no more chemo, I was like, no, I want to do more chemo. And she was like, you can't do any more chemo. Now your liver and your kidneys are starting to shut down from the chemo. But I was petrified then that I hadn't done enough, you know? And I was thinking, oh my God, like, what if I needed like a few more rounds, and that's the difference? What if I don't survive? Because, you know, your mind is so powerful both ways, you know? When you need it to be strong to get you through, it's so strong, and you're like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. I'll do all I can. I want more chemo. I want more chemo. But then it's also really strong when it starts going, what if I die?
Yeah.
That actually might be what's on the cards, and I might not be able to change how this pans out, you know. And if that's what happens, then what?
Yeah.
You know, then what? And that's when I started going, what will I do? Will I write Annabelle these letters? What will I, you know, like, and then I was like, oh, I can't go down that path because I'm using my energy in a place where I don't want to use it. I need to use it to try and stay strong, and I need to just keep going, and we'll see what happens.
How long was the full process from first day of chemo to?
First day chemo, last surgery, 18 months. But I had the all clear, because I still did surgeries after I had the all clear. So I had the all clear after 12 months.
And what was that time when you went in there? Oh my
God, that was, I remember when he rang me, I thought I was going to crash the car. I was so excited. I just was like, and I was like, are you sure? Like, did you check? Like, are you sure? He was like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure. And then I rang, so it was the guy at the hospital who rang me, and then I rang Fran, and I was like, my oncologist was like, he's saying it's all clear, but I think you should check. Like, as though, like, you know, because you know, it's funny, you still only just, like in October, had my 5-year, my last 5-year scan. So even though you get that all clear, you still kind of live in a bit of fear. So every 3 months I would go and have it scanned. So every 3 months
for 5 years. Wow. And those scan days, would be, that result day would just be so scary.
They're the worst. They're the worst. And the 2 weeks in the lead up, I always find I start to get weird. I start to, you know, say things like, you know, if I'm not here, this is where we keep the good cutlery. You know, if I'm not here, this is where I keep the kids' toys for parties, or, you know, like, because it's like, oh my God, it must be scan time, you know? You know, it's hard. You're trying to, it's the unknown, right?
Yeah.
And you fight so hard to get here that when you get here, you don't want it to go, but also part of you also has to go, I have no control, you know? I was saying to someone the other day, in the same way I don't wake up thinking, what if I get hit by a bus today? I have to not worry about that. It's like, what will be, you know? I always sort of say, as long as I, hand on my heart, I did all I knew that I could have done, then the rest is up to the universe.
You're not faced with your mortality every day unless you go through something like that, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it is like that, you know, oh, but we could wake up and get hit by a bus
That's
tomorrow.
right.
But you don't think
about it. I know.
Because we're not faced with that.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah, so true, you know.
And so then you get, so 5 years is the big one, right?
5 years is the big one. 5 years is the big one.
Do you feel like you have exhaled a bit now, or?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I do feel like that. I feel just a little bit. I feel like, okay, that was a big hurdle. You know, I feel like it was a big milestone. You know, I remember her saying to me, like, there's a period, like the first year, the reoccurrence is low, and then it goes up year 2, year 3, year 4, and then you want to get to year 5. So I feel like, thank you.
Yeah, you're actually a miracle.
Yeah, I feel very lucky. I feel very, very lucky, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know why, but I do feel lucky.
Oh my
very
goodness.
Fortunate.
Yeah. The yearning of when you want a baby, if it's the first one or the second, even if you've got one, it's no different, is it?
No different. I found, and it's funny because I was sort of thinking, oh, you know what, I am lucky. I have got Annabelle. You know what, that I should be thankful, and I am thankful. But it's like I just was like, oh my God, I want another one. I really do. And so then I was like, okay, well, what can I do? You know, and I think if we could have adopted, we probably would have. But adoption laws in Australia,
it's just hideous, isn't it?
They can't even. No. Seriously.
Did you look into that to start with?
Yeah, just really, like, just high level. And it's like, too old, was sick. Like, just no. It's like, you guys, come on, you know. And so then it's like, well, we've got these embryos. I just need someone to carry them. And then somebody that I know said to me, listen, I know someone who did surrogacy in the States, and they had a great experience and they loved it, and they used this agency. And so I just was like, okay, why don't I try this and let's see what happens. And then Rachel, like an angel, came into our life, you know. So feel really, you know, it's funny, two such starkly different experiences. each special in its own way, right? Each so uniquely special.
So how does the process, like when you said, okay, we want to do this, and then you found Rachel.
Yep.
How does, I know that's a very lengthy, big conversation.
Yeah.
But how does the process play out?
It's a little bit, so America's great, right? Like America is, everything's set up, everything's organised, everything's, you know what they like when they do it? They do it big and they do it well, right? So it's a bit like a dating agency. You'll say, okay, I want a surrogate. Our situation is a bit different because I was like, I need a surrogate who will do this for free. I need somebody who will do this free because you cannot pay for a surrogate.
Why can't you?
Again, Australian laws. Again, so ridiculous.
If you're in America, though, can you pay them?
No.
So
if you're an Australian, if you're a resident of New South Wales, you cannot pay a surrogate for her services.
What about if you lived in America?
If you're an American resident, yes.
Right.
Yeah, in America it's perfectly legal.
Oh my gosh.
And this is the thing when people say, oh no, the surrogate shouldn't get paid. The first thing I say is, well, hang on, the doctors are getting paid, all the lawyers are getting paid, the fertility guy, the embryologist, the hospital, like out of the whole process, which is super expensive, the amount that the surrogate gets is so small, and yet she does the biggest part. You know,
I would think that absolutely
that law has got to change.
And also, though, but anyone to think that why wouldn't she? It's like, well,
people are funny. I don't know. People say all sorts of funny things.
People are and I like whatever. Don't judge. Absolutely judging. Why would you not? What is the issue with that? I don't understand it.
I don't get it either. Like, there's no, honestly, why shouldn't she get paid? So they have obviously all these surrogates that they've screened, that they've have all been through their medical tests, psychological tests. They've all got them, and so then. Again, but because I wanted somebody who would do it for free, the agency said to me, listen, I know someone who has done it once before. She wants to do it again, but she wants to do it for something special. And she's like, I think you guys might hit it off. And so we had this kind of FaceTime call, like her and her husband and me and Marcus. I know. And it's like dating, right? So I was like, Marcus, get dressed up. Like, let's make sure we look like, and don't swear. Don't say it. And he's like, I don't swear. He's like, you swear. It's like, I was like, okay, I won't swear either. Let's be really good and let's be presentable and let's hope they like us, you know. So we did this Skype call with them, and we were just like, we just loved them. And then they said, yeah, they would do it. And we're just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And so then it's a case of, you get the embryos sent across, and can you believe it's actually someone's job to come and get embryos and take them on the plane with them and then take them over. I know. And then you basically, it's like, for her it's an IVF cycle. So she basically does IVF, and then when she's ready they put the embryo in. And so what happened was we went across to meet with her the first time. And meet the family and meet Scott, and she's got 3 girls who are all like the same age as Annabelle. So there's like, I think Annabelle at the time was like 3, so hers were like 2, 4 and 5 or whatever. So they're all like besties, you know. So now they Snapchat with each other every day, and gorgeous. It's cute. And so we put the first one in, and it took. Wow. And we were just like, oh my God, this is like a dream run. We've been so lucky. And everything was going along great until 11 weeks. And then she had a miscarriage, but the heart just stopped beating. And then we were just, I think that really, after everything, we were just like, oh my God, we were heartbroken.
Of course.
And then we were like, okay, let's try again. Next one didn't take. And then we thought, okay, we'll try again. Next one didn't take. And then at that point, Marcus's mum was really sick, and she was like terminally sick. So we're like, we just need a break. And Rachel was so patient. She was like, take as much time as you want. And at that point we only had 1 embryo left, and so, and it's funny because people are saying, you know, maybe it's her, maybe like she, you know, she's not the right surrogate for you, you should change to another surrogate. And she herself was like, if you want to go, if you don't feel obliged, if you want to, you know, use somebody else, you can use someone else. Like I won't take it personally. But I felt so connected to her, you know. It was like we'd been through too much together, you know. I felt like we had lost that baby together, the first one, you know. She's so kind and nurturing and loving that I just was like, I can't do this experience with someone else. However this turns out, this experience is for you and me. We are bonded in this way. And I was surprised because I think initially before I began, I was like, it's a bit like a service. It's a bit at arm's length, you know. But it's so personal, right?
Yeah.
When you see your embryo go into someone, and also like the love and care, right? The love and care. Like, she's going to all the appointments all the time. You know, she's the one taking the medication. She's the one rubbing her belly and talking to the baby. You know, she's got the 3 girls sitting around reading stories to the baby. You know, like, it's so powerful.
She's an angel.
She's an angel.
Like,
She's an angel. She is an angel.
Because I sit here and go, I don't think I could do that.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine? She's a nurse right in the neonatal ward, so she loves babies.
Wow.
She is so kind. And you know, like,
I feel bad saying that. But
Oh,
I just don't.
I think many people couldn't.
No.
I don't think I could. You know?
So, and there was a point where, for a while, and it wasn't, you know, my best mate and I talked for a while. It looked like she was going to have quite a lot of trouble. And we just spoke about, would we ever do that for each other? Didn't even know if it was a possibility.
Yeah.
And in my heart of hearts, I thought, I don't know if I can.
Because at the end you have to hand the baby over, right?
Yes.
You have to. And it's funny, Rachel, she's like, well, it's not mine. She's like, and I remember when I found out it was a girl, and I said to her, do you want to know? And she was like, no. She's like, I don't want to know. She said, it makes no difference to me. She said, I'm just carrying this for you. She
How
said,
did she emotionally
she's
do
done
that?
it once before. I don't know. It's
incredible.
it's incredible. She's like, I have my family. This is not mine. I'm just growing it for you.
Wow.
You know, it's an amazing
Wow.
person.
Yes.
You know, but you know what's funny? So when Alyssa was born, so that night when Rach came into my room and she was holding her, so Alyssa was asleep and, well, she had her eyes shut. Anyway, Rachel was holding her and she was like, hello, baby girl. Flung her eyes open and looked up at her. And I was like, oh my God, that's the voice you've been hearing for 9 months, just talking to you every night and nurturing you and loving you. Like, she knew her voice.
Wow.
No question. No question, you know? And I was like, that bond, and that's what I mean. It's like, I couldn't have done it with anyone else. I was like, however this happens, this is for you and me to do together, you know? Yeah.
And the last one did work.
It worked.
And you got
so
your
lucky.
baby girl.
Got my baby girl.
So you did fly over with your sister.
Yes, and Annabelle.
And Annabelle. And so were you in the room?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
God.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I mean, she's made to, like, as she said, it's not many things I can do well, but boy, can I have babies well. And she can. 3 pushes, out. You know? I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know. She's such a little superwoman. And she's like, do you mind if I help get the baby out? And I was like, no, like, be my guest.
What do you mean, do you mind if I help? So she
like,
leant down and pulled her out like Kardashian style?
Yeah. Like as if she wasn't already a superwoman and already an angel.
God. Oh my goodness.
I know.
And then did you feel that instant connection?
Yeah, I did. And do you know what's funny is Marcus and I obviously had spoken a lot, and he was like, you know, like, don't know what's going to happen, obviously. Like, you might not feel connected. You might feel, I don't know, like you just like, and it's true. And I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is such an unknown, I'm going into an unknown territory.
Yeah.
But I did.
Wow.
It's weird. And I felt, it's so strange because even though I didn't carry her and even though she didn't come out of me, I felt no different to how I felt in terms of my connection with Annabelle.
Yeah.
I feel like she is mine.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like
Yeah.
she is mine. You know,
Yeah.
I really felt it from day one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And it was the thing I think that I didn't expect, which I said to Rachel, was that I feel like I had a second chance. Like I knew I was going for a baby, and that part was like, yes, I'm going to have a baby. But I didn't know that I was actually going to have another chance at like a birth experience all over again. Like that's the part that actually overwhelmed me. I was like, oh my God, this room is full of love. Like there's so much love in this room. It's like the complete opposite of my first experience. It's like I had a chance at a do-over that I didn't think I was going to get. And I hadn't actually given it much thought. You know, I hadn't actually thought, I was all about the end result, having a baby.
Yeah.
But actually what I had was this experience that was so happy and so joyous and so, it was like I almost got to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
You know?
You got to feel what was taken from you the first time.
Totally.
Around.
And
Wow.
that I didn't expect, and that really took me by surprise, you know?
Yeah.
And I said to her, for that, I'm even more thankful, you know? Like that was, a bonus.
And then, because your sister did go over, so your
Yes.
husband, when you brought the baby home,
Yes.
because you had to go for quite a while.
Yeah.
Is that why he couldn't?
Yeah,
go?
his work is really busy at Christmas. So basically, for him to have come across is like career suicide.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't come, and so he FaceTimed in for the birth. So it was, it was like he was there, you know. So
What when you got off the plane and what was that?
oh my
like?
God.
Ta-da!
Oh my God.
We went to
It was,
Disneyland.
no, look what I got you. Well, it's funny because when we got off the plane, Annabelle being 5 and obviously still struggling with her severe jealousy of the baby.
Yeah. No.
So I had said, listen, when we get off the plane, it's all about Annabelle first.
Yeah.
And then let's just, because she'd spent 7 weeks just busting, you know, she's so close to Marcus. And so it was all about Annabelle. Then as soon as we basically put her in the car, we're like, wow, we've got a baby.
Oh my God.
You know, are you in there, Annabelle? Buckle up. Whoa! You know, like, you know, so it was just, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
And
It's
she begged for us. So I couldn't leave Bax with Arlo, my second, for a year.
Well, the other day, she said, look what I can do. I was like, don't do that.
My God.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's
but what's
so
so funny
funny.
is, so when we first, so for the first week, she was great, right? She's like, oh, this is the best.
Yeah,
I
like a
love it.
little doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second week, she says to Maha and I miss the good old days. And we're like, when were they? She goes, last week before Alyssa came along.
God. Oh my God,
So-
it's so funny.
And it was so expressive. So like when we got home to Marcus, she was saying, see this love heart. She drew this picture. See this love heart, Daddy, in here. See me and see you. And he's like, oh. And then she got her red pen. She goes, not anymore.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not joking.
Oh my God.
She is so, like, so
Oh
behind her back, we call her Meryl for Meryl Streep because she's so dramatic, right? And then we're like, oh my God, Annabelle. And she's like, that's right. You've got to listen now. You don't even need me. And we're like, oh my God, of course we do. And then I find myself saying things like, you're my number one. Alyssa is nothing. Oh my God. And then you're like, don't say that. That's all the bad things. But like just desperate mothering, you know?
I know. That's what my partner the other night said. I was like, don't in front of Bax like say things like, oh, he's so annoying and this and that. And Sam's like, he doesn't get it really though. I know what you're trying to do, but he doesn't get it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. He doesn't.
Because you're trying.
You do, yes. It's hard though. And it was a whole year though. Sally, I don't kid you. I'm like, I'm going to have the kid that's going to kill the baby. It's going to be on the front of the papers. Look what I can do.
I was just like, what?
They'll end up being best mates, or they better.
I think eventually.
God. Yeah, that I hope
But
so.
my God, I tell you. And then I said, you wanted a brother or a sister, remember, every day? And she goes, I wanted someone to play with, not a baby. And I was like, oh my God. And she goes, do you know what's happening now? I go to school, so I don't get to see you and Dad, and Alyssa gets to spend all her time with you guys. And I was like, no, we ignore her when you're gone. Again, stuff you should not say. But like, you're my everything. She's nothing. Her, no. I'm like, oh my God. Alyssa, you're too young.
Yeah, she won't remember. It's so funny.
Far out.
Because she's like at that age that is just a dagger to the heart too.
Oh my God, it's so full on. We went to Larry
Yeah.
Emder's house and she goes, I'm not coming home. I'm going to stay here with Sylvie. You don't need me anymore. I was like...
in front of them.
In front
No,
of
we're fine.
Yeah.
It's all going fine, lass.
We're all very happy. It's good. The adjustment's great.
Oh,
far
so
out.
funny.
It's funny.
Okay, what is your show and tell?
All right, this is what I bought. So it's my wedding vows,
Oh, wow.
which I scrawled. Look at it. I've been carrying this little crappy piece of paper around for like 15 years because it reminds me of how different Marcus and I are. So we basically we decided we'd write our own vows, right? And so my version of write your own vows is Google some stuff, cut and paste a few things together, and then I did it, right? Marcus's version is more like, and so I had this like spreadsheet for like when things are due for the wedding, like I was like a nightmare. And he was like, and I said, hey, come along with the vows. I need to tick it off the list. And he was like, I'm waiting to be inspired by what I want to say.
Yeah,
right,
like, I ain't loving you.
That is so annoying. There's no room for inspiration on my spreadsheet. I've just got dates. I need you to hurry up. Fuck, it's so annoying, right? God. Anyway, he rang me, I remember at work, which is where this notebook is from. And he was like, okay, I've got it. And I was like, okay, go for it. And I scrawled it. And I remember just going.
So he read them out to
you? He read them out over the phone, right? He was like, this is what I'm thinking, right? And so I was like, cradled it and I wrote it. And I was like, oh my God, that's so much nicer than mine. He's like, now, do you want to read yours? I was like, no, it's fine. We'll go with yours. They're good. That's really good. And I literally, that's the same from my desk, from my work notebook. But I keep it because, even though it's so tattery, it reminds me of how different we are, right? And it reminds me not to be a bitch, right? And to like, not, like everyone's process is different. I am, I'm much more like, organised and full on, and I like a schedule, but that's not right either always, whereas he's a lot more like, I want to be inspired and I want to feel stuff, and it depends on what I want to say, and so I keep it, and some years I keep it in my diary, some years I keep it in my wallet, but I always look at it and I'm always like, it reminds me of why, in a marriage, just to try to like have some give and take, be a bit kind, don't be so full on, don't be trying to inflict on the other person my Excel schedule and my spreadsheet and stuff.
Which is hard sometimes,
Oh my God, it's very hard sometimes, but that's why I keep it.
Yeah, it's getting all like
I know.
What do we? Because you want to be able to feel the paper, but you also like, I feel like you need to contact it or something.
I know. I was going to frame it, and then I like that I like that I carry it with me, because it always, whenever I flick through, I always remember, and I can still picture myself at my desk going, yep, go for it, thinking like, fuck, what's taken him so long? Like I Googled in 5 minutes and had it done.
Did you end up changing your vows?
Oh yeah, I didn't read mine, as if. They were so bad. Please, I like from some Hallmark website. They were terrible.
God.
His was so profound and so lovely and kind and beautiful. I was like, yeah, do you know what? You read yours and I'll read yours as well.
Oh, beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, so I keep it with me all the time, just to remind myself, we've all got our own way. We all have our own way.
Now, so you have a million things on the go. Like seriously, you've got your website, Swish, which you run with your sister. You've got your books, and now you've got smoothies out in the supermarkets. Oh my God! Which is this is the bee's knees for people like.
Do you think?
Yes, it is so. It is, and when you see things like that, I go, I should have thought of that. I should have thought of that ages ago. So you've
That's how I feel about Uber.
Yeah, I know. So many things. My partner and I was like, I wish we had thought of that. So you've got, they're pre-packaged.
Yes.
The only ones available with actual veggies in there as well.
Every single one has veggies in it. There's fruit, there's herbs, there's no crap in it, right? There's nothing different than if you were making it at home, except that we did all the work for you. We washed it, we pre-chopped it, we've made all the blends. So each one is designed especially for something. So there's like detox, there's 2 slim ones, there's an energy one, there's a glow one for skin.
Oh, I love a glow.
Yeah, so each one is different, each one tastes different. And the thing is cauliflower, kale, spinach, celery. Like you're getting vegetables. You're actually getting piles of vegetables in every single one, which is the hard thing to do, right? Like
totally,
that's the hardest thing to eat, veggies, right?
Yeah.
Fruit in a bag, yes, anyone can do fruit in a bag. That's not hard, but vegetables, to eat vegetables every day. They taste so bloody good.
Yeah, well, because some smoothies, the combos are rotten, so at least you've trialled
we've spat out plenty. Let me tell you, we have spat out, for the ones that are there, we've spat out 100 other ones that were like, you know what? Because I know it doesn't matter how good something is for you. If it doesn't taste good, you're just not going to do it every day, right?
No.
And I think, like, for me, it's about giving it to Annabelle, because that way I'm like, great, she has just had spinach and kale, and she has no idea. She's just had cauliflower. She doesn't know.
No, it's just perfect.
Perfect.
Because this is basically what got you a lot through your treatment, right?
Totally.
With smoothies.
When I finished cancer treatment, I'd lost my hair, my nails had fallen off, but I had put on so much weight from the chemo. I obviously still was carrying baby weight, and I had no energy. Like I was the Walking Dead. Like I was technically better, but I was just walking around but empty inside. And I was like, okay, I know that I need to nourish, right? I need veggies, but it's so boring eating vegetables. It's boring, right? And it's like, and so then I was like, okay, if I make a smoothie, then maybe it's like you've got the whole board full of veggies, right, packed, and it's like, well, it's just a drink. And so then I started having them, and I was like, oh my God, I feel so good. But the thing is I know that they have to taste good, because I have made hundreds in my life that are dirt. They may as well, honestly, you may as well be mulching on seaweed. It's disgusting. So it's all about which ones go together, what fruit goes with what vegetable, and what combination. You know what I mean? So
you've done the hard work.
I've done the hard work. It took me 3 years.
And your mug's on the front, right?
Yeah, smiling at you.
Great.
So you'll know it's that one.
Beautiful.
Pick the one where I'm waving at you.
Awesome.